Hello, a very good morning to all. Myself, Khushbu Balodia, Assistant Professor, Chemical Engineering Department, LJ Institute of Engineering and Technology. My subject is Green Technology and Sustainable Development. In a previous video lecture of this subject, we have gone through the principles of green chemistry. The concept is 12 principles of green chemistry. Out of the 12 principles, total 8 principles were already discussed. In this session, we will cover remaining 4 principles of green chemistry. Those 8 principles that we discussed are prevention, atom economy, less hazardous chemical synthesis, designing safer chemicals, safer solvents and auxiliary substance, design for energy efficiency, use of renewable raw material, reduce intermediate derivatives. Principle number 9 says that catalysis and catalytic reagent. We all know the catalyst means a substance that increase the rate of reaction. That means that increase the velocity of reaction without itself being changed in the process. Right? That means the catalyst is a substance which does not change during the process, but only it will increase the rate of reaction. So green chemistry principle says that try to use maximum catalytic in your process or the catalytic reagent so that your reaction will become very faster, and also it will reduce the temperature of transformation, waste and unwanted side reactions, and ultimately this will lead towards sustainable development, or I can say cleaner production. Right. Now what do we mean by catalytic reagent? Catalytic reagent, that means a catalytic substance which increase the rate of reaction and as well as it does not change in the process. So catalytic reagent are superior as compared to stoichiometric reagent. Here stoichiometric reagent we mean a stoichiometric reactant. So if we perform a reaction without a catalyst, it will require higher temperature as well as higher reaction time. Right. So compared to that stoichiometric reagent, catalytic reagent are very superior in nature. So try to maximize the use of those catalytic or catalytic substance. In catalyst we are using heavy metals like zeolites, phase transfer catalyst. These all are the nowadays finding increasing applications in our industrial process. Why? Because a phase transfer catalyst, that means that allows the reaction to facilitate in the phase of liquid and gas. Right. So those known as a phase transfer catalyst. So use of those are very increasing nowadays. One example we can give in this principle says that a reduction of a ketone to a corresponding secondary alcohol using molecular oxygen. Now for the reduction of ketone we are using molecular hydrogen. We are reducing ketone to the secondary alcohol by using molecular hydrogen. Right, and for this reaction atom economy is 100%. That means all the ketones that we are using to convert secondary alcohol, those are ultimately consumed towards the generation of our desired product. So why? Because here we are using molecular hydrogen as a catalyst. Another good example of catalyst is a biocatalyst. Biocatalyst, that means the use of enzymes and microorganisms. And the example of enzyme that also we have seen in earlier principle, right? Because enzymes is very helpful because it reduces undesirable intermediates or it reduces the derivatives. So one example is that ethyl alcohol from the molasses by the enzyme invertase. This is a biochemical process. In this we are reducing our ethyl alcohol in the molasses by using the enzyme invertase. Another one is a conversion of fermentation product, for example penicillium G into 6-amino penicillinic acid by using the enzyme. right? So these are the good example of catalytic, or I can say biocatalyst. Another example we can say that in that there is a conventional process and there is a green approach. In a conventional process, a waste product was per kilogram 10 kilogram, right? Because see this is a hydroquinone synthesis process. In a hydroquinone synthesis process, waste is produced 10 kilogram per kilogram of product. Whether in a green approach, that waste production leads towards less than 1 kilogram per kilogram of product. Here we are using a catalyst. Another thing we can say that earlier in a conventional process, it was done in the presence of MnO2. But in this greener approach, this hydroxylation happening in the aqueous H2O2 using titanium silicate as a catalyst. So this will reduce the waste formation. Another principle of green chemistry is the design for degradation. Chemical product should be designed in a such a way that at the end of their life, it should be degraded. It should be biologically degraded. If that persists in environment, that means it is non-biodegradable, then we need to think about the recycle treatment of that non-biodegradable compound, right? So green chemistry says that use those components which are easily degraded in our environment, which are easily break down, right? So green chemistry aims at designing products that are end of their useful life to the breakdown into a harmless material. Chemical principles, this principles particularly says that degradation after the formation, but remaining principle says that try to reduce those components at the source itself. Rather the formation of product, try to focus before the product is formed. That means principle number 3, 4, 5 says that try to eliminate risk, hazards at the source itself before the product is formed. That means use the raw material in a such a way that it is non-hazardous to our environment, right? Now next principle, principle number 11 says that real-time analysis for the pollution prevention. Analytic methodologies needs to be further developed which allows real-time analysis, that means real-time monitoring before any hazardous take place or before any disaster take place. That means those says that before generation of pollution, and if those pollutions are generated by a sudden fluctuation in our operation parameter, so try to monitor those parameters at inline. That means live monitoring of those components. So if sudden unwanted systems are taking place, so we can eliminate those risks at this starting step. So real-time analysis, that means ability to monitor a transformation and to act immediately to prevent unwanted outcomes, right? So because if we prevent the unwanted outcome, ultimately we will lower down the energy requirement, we save the energy, we also reduce the bioformation of product, right? Most chemists, those are familiar with the laboratory analysis only, but in the plant, inline analysis, online analysis, or at the analysis at plant itself should be carried out, right? Because of that, we can reduce the future hazard, we can reduce the future harmful impact. So those analysis are the determination of TH before that shoots up. Positioning of catalyst that can be determined by using the inline monitoring, right, before the major accident take place. Now next principle or last principle of green chemistry says that inherently safer chemistry for accident prevention. So this leads to the specifically raw material and chemical substance. So raw material and chemical substance used in chemical process should be inherently safe. That means it should be non-toxic. The substance should be chosen so that minimize the potential for chemical accident, that reduce the release of harmful substance or harmful gases, which reduce the chances of explosions and fire. So green chemistry ultimately aims to stop the use of dangerous material, and this principle we will see by taking an example of this. There is a conventional process and there is a greener process. Say for example, in a manufacture of gold atom from the example is manufacture of gold atom nanoparticle, and this process use the diboron and benzene, right. So this diboron is highly toxic in nature and benzene is a cancer causing component. So what we can do as an alternate option, so here we can replace those components. Diboron that can be replaced by environmentally benign NaBH4. This NaBH4 moreover that also reduce the use of benzene. See, what was earlier in a gold atom nanoparticle synthesis, we were using diboron and benzene. Diboron is highly toxic in nature and benzene is very cancer causing component, right. So what we can do, we can replace the diborons with some environmental friendly component. So we are here replacing diboron with the NaBH4, and because of that a benzene requirement will be eliminated. Benzene was the cancer causing component. So we can develop this type of system for the inherently safer chemistry for the accident prevention. And another case we can take, that is the Bhopal disaster. So entire incident was taken place in 3rd December 1994. There was a leakage of poisonous MIC gas, right. So what was happened in that, many people lost their life due to the sudden exposure to that chemicals, and that leakage of methyl isocyanate taken place, and those substances, those chemicals were used to make the pesticide, and those MIC was stored in a large quantities at the production site itself. Because of that, what has happened, that is highly toxic and highly reactive, right. So because of that, a sudden release of that and taken place because of the poor management, poor functionality of safety parameter. So because of that disaster taken place. So this was regarding the all principles of green chemistry. Ultimately we can apply this green chemistry principles concept throughout the life cycle of product. So here you can say that from the pre-manufacturing to the end of the life, we can apply the green principles each and everywhere, so we can reduce the harmful effect on our environment and human being, and this ultimately leads towards the sustainable development. So quickly revise what we covered in this session of green chemistry. We covered total 4 principles from principle number 9. Principle number 9 says that catalyst and catalytic reagent. So try to maximize the use of catalytic and catalytic reagent so that ultimately it leads towards the 100% atom economy, or we can use the biocatalyst. Here biocatalyst, that means use of enzymes or microorganism for the reaction, and this is a good example of the catalyst, that if we use the proper catalyst with the combination of proper titanium silicate catalyst in the production of hydroquinone process, so that ultimately leads towards the reduction in the waste formation. Next principle was the design for the degradation. So try to develop those components which can be easily degraded after its formation. So example is chlorofluorocarbon. So chlorofluorocarbon that easily not degraded in our environment, which is persist in environment, and that ultimately leads towards the ozone layer depression. Right. So instead of this chlorofluorocarbon or volatile substance, try to use another green alternate options. And another thing is the DDT, which is bioaccumulate in our system and which cause X cell thinning. So instead of that, try to develop a new product. And one good example under this category is degradation of polymers, and which is polylactic acid, which is degraded after its use. Next principle says that real-time analysis for the pollution prevention. This says that parameters should be managed at the inline process or at the plant itself, so that before the hazard take place, we can control them. Last principle says that inherently safer chemistry for the accident prevention. So try to use those component at the process step itself, and this is an example that in say gold atom nanoparticle synthesis we were using boron and benzene. So in a greener approach we are replacing diboron with the NaBH4, and that will eliminate the use of benzene. And also we have taken an example of Bhopal disaster. So this was all regarding the 12 principles of green chemistry. Hope this session is clear to you. Thank you so much.